Hey folks, welcome to another VR and AR related video. No footage in this video, but I do want to talk about a very cool conference I had the opportunity to attend recently. In the past, I've attended the Augmented World Expo in Santa Clara as well as online for both their online presentations and the European version of AWE. Last week, I had the opportunity to attend in person in Santa Clara, California. It is the class reunion, I would say, each year of the entire XR community. So whether you're an augmented reality fan, a virtual reality fan, a mixed reality fan, or a spatial computing fan, AWE has something for you and has the community to support you. It was a fantastic event. It started out with hologram Ori Inbar, the CEO of AWE, well, close to the CEO of AWE, welcoming us with a ChatGPT produced script as a welcome announcement, and then the actual Ori Inbar protesting the AI movement. It was a comedic thing, but it really went to show the advancements in technology that we've had in recent years, both with the really cool box holding the hologram version of Ori and the fact that an AI made something that was adequate as a welcome announcement just by prompts. So AI was at the forefront of parts of the conference. That thing they call the Metaverse was also part of the conference, including a conversation with the person who first coined the metaverse term, Neil Stevenson. But the heart of AWE, every time I've been there, has been bringing together the entire community, whether that be hardware manufacturers, software developers, or just general enthusiasm around these different products that are coming to the market. This is not a show for gaming. This is a show specifically for connecting and learning about different use cases and different ways that you can use this type of technology. A second talk I was able to attend during the first day of AWE was with the founder of XReal, Chi Zhu. And what I really appreciated was the fact that while they were bringing a new product to market, also kind of explaining their change from their previous name, Nreal, to XReal, and kind of relaunching their XReal Air device. There was a lot of transparency in this talk. For example, Chi shared that in 2020, they sold approximately 10,000 Nreal Lite to the Korean and Japanese markets. Then in 2021, they expanded to the European and US markets with around 15,000 Nreal Lites. And now, from 2022 onward, they've sold around 100,000 of their XReal Air device. And now that they've changed their brand name to XReal, some lawsuits and some other things that have prevented them from expanding into a more global market are cleared. So they'll be able to expand and hopefully sell this device, which they're calling a spatial display now, in a global fashion as opposed to being limited to specific markets. What I also appreciated was the fact that their new device, the XRay Beam, which is kind of like a compute unit for the XReal Air, is now available at a $109 price point. The XReal Air, which aren't really what I would call an AR device, so I appreciate the fact that they've changed their name to a spatial display. Those are available at $379. So you can have a very nice, vivid screen for your eyes in your glasses for under $500 all in. You don't need a separate phone device, you don't need a separate computer, but that XReal Beam device will allow you to move content from your phone, your PC, a games console, anything that has an HDMI port will now be compatible with the XRail Air. So yes, this is an accessory. Yes, this is a companion device. It's not an all-in-one in this case, but you don't need to have a specific device to drive it. And that XRail Beam device becomes the specific device. I did find the software on the XRail Beam, when I got to try it, was a little bit limiting. All it really allows you to do is move the display forward and backward, set the display to follow your gaze, or set it to be in place. And it does have a bit of a 3DOF mechanic to it where you can move around the display and it'll stay fixed in one place. Or you can have it actually in a side view where it's only covering a portion of one eye. So for example, if you're using it to get directions from your phone and you're walking, you can actually have those directions in front of your eye on one side and focus on the world around you with the other eye and the rest of that portion of your eye's view. I really like the XRail Lite, which is the device that I have. I think that the XRail Air has a little bit more potential because it's a simpler device, if that makes sense. I'll be talking about other easier to use devices as well in the future. And I think that it's something that anyone can really pick up and use fairly easily, particularly with the XRail Beam. With their other software package, Nebula, it's a little bit harder to use. It feels a bit more cumbersome. So the XRail Beam takes all of that out of the equation, makes it simpler, easier to use. And I was really happy to see, even though it's kind of it's not really a techie device, it's more of a device that it's an accessory to an accessory, if you will. It's something that I think is welcome in the market and should help them to expand their user base. Another presentation that I went to was from Steve Lucas from the Qualcomm Snapdragon Spaces team. And the thing that excited me the most from this presentation was the fact that Snapdragon Spaces has embraced having 2 in-game cameras. Now, I tried to build an AR application last year for actually XReal's Game Jam, and that particular Game Jam resulted in me not having a working prototype in the end because of the camera limitations that I found in Unity. I had to kind of flip and manipulate the camera to make a checkerboard work, and it didn't really allow for both that checkerboard working and controlling the user face. So I had either no controls or no checkerboard. The Snapdragon Spaces dual render fusion allows for 2 in-game cameras. So what you would have is the AR glasses would be basically one of those cameras driving what you're seeing from your eyes. And then you'd also have your phone, which is both the display and the controller. So if you think about mobile games, a lot of games use a touchscreen interface where you're manipulating something on the screen with a touchscreen as well. What Snapdragon Spaces is embracing is using that and then expanding that out with AR glasses. I've talked about this in the past from previous AWE presentations that Steve Lucas and the others from the Qualcomm Snapdragon Spaces team have put out. But this was the first time that I got to see it actually integrated into Unity. I'm excited about the potential for this. I will actually probably try to build my checkers application to see if it would work with Snapdragon Spaces. I don't have a developer kit or even a compatible device, but I'm excited to see what others bring as well for this platform. The platform is still in development. Right now it is only for developer kits, but in the future they are going to be expanding it out. They've got an entire AR architecture that they're building for hardware devices as well at Qualcomm. A company with 4 big announcements at AWE was Leia, which have their Loom Pad, also known as the Nubia Pad 3D, available on the market today. But they also have a strong investment into 3D AI conversion. So what that allows for is taking a piece of 2D media and converting it through their logic into a piece of 3D media. They can do that in real time with a program called Leia Tube, or they can do that with a program like Leia Pix Converter, which will take your photos and then put it through their algorithm and produce a 3D image. The real-time conversion is what most impresses me about their products. That real-time conversion is going to be available for Qualcomm Snapdragon devices. Again, it's not something that they're going to market as an application, at least just yet. They're going to make it available to hardware manufacturers to integrate into their systems. So those hardware manufacturers can take the 3D AI algorithms that Leia have developed and build real-time conversion of 2D media to 3D media right on their devices. They do have a demo that's available for Pico 4 at the current time, which is kind of a way to entice OEMs to check out that system and hopefully get on board with Leia to bring that architecture into their devices. I'm excited for this because I have the original LumaPad. I've tried the LumaPad 2, and it's got a huge wow factor for me, how it takes that media that's just a flat screen and pops it out with a 3D image that looks surprisingly very realistic with really accurate depth maps. So taking that and putting it into a HMD where you've got two screens with that kind of side-by-side architecture is going to be pretty cool, I think. So I'm excited to see what happens from this. They also had 3 other announcements, though, 2 of which were also pretty big deals to me. Another announcement was the Leia Pix Cloud API. So if you're converting 2D media to 3D media, again, it will do that real-time conversion, but if you need higher fidelity or better quality, say you're working on a 3D conversion of a Hollywood blockbuster, you can process that all in the cloud. So that's something that they're working to engage partners on now. You can actually go to cloud.leiapix.com right now and learn more about this API. I think this is going to be cool because it gives a bit more boost of power to the Leia Pix Converter tools. And again, you can take your 2D media and make a very high quality 3D version of it, even though it was never captured in 3D to begin with. Another announcement they had was the LumaPad 2 HDK. The LumaPad 2 or NubiaPad 3D in other markets has a little pogo pin section at the bottom. So that connector, they're going to have the ability to add hardware devices to the connector. So for example, a company that had a very cool device, the Ultraleap Leap Motion Controller 2, maybe they can integrate that hand tracking into a future Leia device or a future piece of hardware using Leia technology. Or use the actual LumaPad 2 or NubiaPad 3D. And kind of a big deal to me when I was testing the LumaPad 2, the piece of feedback that I gave to the development team was really the biggest piece for me was I'd really like to have this screen be usable not just for Android applications, but also like as an additional display for my PC. And I was thinking that would be a solution that you'd get like a USB-C to USB-C connector, and you'd have to have a Thunderbolt port or something of that nature. They've actually come up with a much more elegant streaming solution with Moonlight 3D. Moonlight is a open source piece of software that's out there in the market that's specifically focused on streaming your PC gaming experience to other devices. The Leia team have worked with the developers to integrate a 3D version of that. So you can take full side-by-side PC games or other 3D content that runs from a PC and stream that to the LumaPad 2 or, again, NubiaPad 3D in other markets. That is a major selling point for me. This particular tablet device, when I had the opportunity to trial it, I had it for around 50 to 60 days, and I really enjoyed it, but the price point of $1,099 is a little high for something that I didn't really have that much of a use case for. Yeah, I could watch some converted footage from YouTube or something of that nature, but I have the original LumaPad, which is all right for that. having the ability to run side-by-side PC content, I'm really leaning toward eventually picking up the LumaPad 2 for myself as a result of this. So this was a phenomenal announcement to me. The end of day one for me was a fantastic panel that focused around hype and reality as it relates to both AI and what people call the metaverse. It was delivered by Avi Barziv, who is the leader of the XR Guild, which is a group that, in principle, is trying to make a consensual version of the metaverse where everyone agrees to specific rules so that you don't have to worry about moderation and everyone agrees to almost like a government in virtual or augmented worlds. Hype is something that has kind of troubled me throughout the entire journey for me with VR and AR. As hardware continues to advance, as technology continues to advance, it really feels like every other day there's another announcement related to VR or AR, which is exciting, but at the same time, the technology hasn't changed in a revolutionary manner, with the exception of moving from PC to standalone, I would say. And I've compared this in the past to going from an NES to a Game Boy. That's kind of what happened in that situation. There are technology advancements similar to what you have in a cell phone. Yeah, the camera might be better. Yeah, the fidelity of the graphics might be better. But they all still kind of do the same thing. So when a new device comes out, what I notice all over the internet is hype, 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 hype. This is going to kill this other device. This is going to revolutionize this industry, etc. And I felt like this panel really explained why hype isn't something you should really feed too much into. I am going to put a link to the AWE.live presentation of this particular panel because I think it's important that people watch it. So if you're interested in hype versus reality and how we can make both the metaverse and AI better, how we can have an ideal world in these virtual worlds, I definitely encourage watching this particular panel. It was one of the highlights of the conference for me. Day two of AWE for me started out with a press walkthrough of the expo hall. I adore the folks that work in PR for AWE. They really take care of the media, myself included, and I feel like going through their press walkthrough every year is a treasure. You can actually watch the full press walkthrough if you'd like on their YouTube channel. Again, I'll throw a link in the description. But what they do is they actually kind of scout out all of the exhibitors, see what they're bringing that's new that they might find exciting, and build out basically a speed dating session where the press can see 2 to 3 minute presentations from each of a select number of the exhibitors. We got to see 18 exhibitors. Of those exhibitors, I'm going to narrow it down to just a few that really caught my eye, that I went back to their booth and tried their products. So the first is Tilt 5. You've definitely heard of Tilt 5 on my channel before. I have a Tilt 5 system sitting under my desk right now. But they brought their hologram technology to AWE, not just in their booth, but in multiple other booths as well. The one that really caught my eye that I really was impressed with was an integrated demo with Ultraleap, where you can manipulate using Ultraleap Leap Motion Controller 2 hand tracking technology the environment and world that was being displayed on the Tilt 5 game board. It was really impressive. I felt like it really showcased both pieces of technology quite well, and I'm hoping to see Tilt 5 continue to grow as a company and continue to have those types of experiments happen. because while they've got kind of like a barbecue lighter wand controller that works well for the Tilt 5, having that alternative hand tracking, it just worked really well and it felt very natural. So that's a piece of technology that I thought was a good highlight for AWE. Another was Sightful with their Space Top, which is essentially a laptop without a screen using X-Real powered spatial display technology as your screen. So essentially, what it is a keyboard with a touchpad with a little tiny section here that has a webcam that points up at you, and then a cord, USB-C, that goes out to a pair of X-Real glasses. Now, these are not the standard X-Real Air. I found the brightness on these to be a bit brighter, and I can't say for sure, but it felt like the graphical fidelity was also better than what you get with a standard set of the X-Real Air. I was impressed, actually. I thought this was just going to kind of be a hokey, like, there's no way I would want to use this on a regular basis device. But the display was very sharp, gives you the ability to have multiple displays as you look to the sides and in front of you. Um, and, they're showcasing this as something that you can leverage the space around you, but not be taken away from or removed from the space around you. And I could see that use case just by the short demo that I had. So this product is kind of expensive. It's around $2,000 from what I understand. I don't know that they've had sales. There's like an invite list that you can sign up for. But it's an interesting niche product that I think shows a good picture into what the future could be with spatial computing technology in the future. One of the companies that had a wow factor for me was Ant Reality Optics. Now, I've talked with the Ant Reality Optics team multiple times at different conferences in the past. I believe this is the same company that used to be known as Ant VR. They had a ton of devices from the entire time period I've been in virtual reality, but recently have really shifted their focus specifically to optics, which they would then sell to other companies to put into their devices. Their technology uses what's called mixed waveguide. Now, waveguide technology is somewhat limiting because the field of view that you can get from a waveguide lens can be 30 to 40 degrees. And what Ant Reality has done is they've taken the component of the projector out of the equation, and they've really refined their lens technology so that you can get up to 120 degrees field of view from a glasses form factor augmented reality glass. Uh, I tried them at CES earlier this year, and I have to say that what I saw several months later at AWE was honestly even worlds better. They've refined the technology to have brighter screens as well as updating one of their reference designs to have local dimming that literally felt like they turned the world off around me when they turned it off. So they have a mechanical device that operates that dims or brightens makes more transparent, when I say brightens, uh, the image in these lenses, and they have someone else controlling it. So I was talking to the CEO of Ant Reality as this demo was happening, and when I started out, it was in a transparent mode. It was a fixed image. I do want to preface it was not already operational as a full AR device that you can navigate and change the screens or anything of that nature. But when he pushed the button and it slowly turned darker and darker, literally I almost like yelped in excitement. Like, it was very, very cool how it isolated my eyesight and took me out of the real world. So taking this type of technology in a literal eyeglasses form factor, and hopefully in the not too distant future, making a device that's capable of both full AR with around 120-degree field of view and VR experiences. I felt like it was noise canceling for my eyes. That's how good it was. It was really cool. Another company with technology that I have been wanting to try for years was Haptics. Haptics has a haptic glove technology that uses pressure sensors and things of that nature rather than just motors to vibrate things. And it's always got a line and a schedule that is completely booked. So I've never had the opportunity at multiple conferences to try this. Thankfully, because I was there for the press walk, I was able to sign up, get an appointment, and try their Lowe's Innovation Labs kitchen demo. Now, kitchen demo in virtual reality takes me back to my early days of virtual reality, but now things have changed. I was using a Vario headset, which has extremely good fidelity, with these gloves, with this huge backpack apparatus. I had to have my hands measured in centimeters to adjust the gloves on my hands, and they work really well. Each device or item that I was picking up throughout the kitchen had a specific and appropriate piece of feedback that made it feel like I was actually touching those devices. So if I was adjusting a dial, I could feel the tension of moving the dial as well as the dial itself and how solid it was. When using a mixer, I could feel, depending on what I was touching, with both my palm and my fingertips, I could feel the vibrations of that mixer in the spot I was holding the mixer. And it felt extremely natural. When I was using a faucet, I could feel the water pressure and the direction of the drops of water and things of that nature. So, this is not practical for a normal consumer. This is not something that I'd say, oh, you can buy this and play Half-Life Alyx with it. No. This is something that I feel has extremely meaningful industrial use cases or even educational use cases, but it is not a consumer product. Uh, it is very cool, though, to have such realism out of a piece of haptic technology. Another device I got to try at AWE was the Zappbox. Now, this is something that's been an iterative design for years, and the current design is actually using an iPhone 11 or later, soon to support select Android devices, where you've got just kind of this plastic piece that you put the phone in front of. It's got lens optics so that you've got a stereo augmented reality screen in front of you, and it's marker based. So you have a marker laid out on the table or multiple markers in the room, and you can kind of place objects. That's their level of plane detection. It's kind of simplistic, but it works. And the simplest thing is actually the price. It is under $80 for this particular device. It does come with two controllers that have button parity with the Quest controllers. So their hope is to have streaming PC VR on this device, as well as developing applications for it as a standalone using your mobile device. Uh, it's kind of like cardboard for AR, but I could see this being a developer platform that people can use, not just for building experience for Zappbox, but also for taking those same experiences, building them in Unity or Unreal Engine, and then deploying them across multiple OpenXR devices in the future. Uh, it's got potential, particularly at an $80 price point, but you do have to factor in the cost of a smartphone. Not everyone wants to buy a smartphone to do this type of development, so if you've got a smartphone laying around that will work with this device, this might be a way to go to start your journey into virtual and augmented reality. One of the products that's already working on it is the open source version of Tilt Brush, OpenBrush. That alone if you don't have any VR devices, could be the reason to buy this particular device, because OpenBrush is a fantastic product and something that if you can pick up for $80 and use with full stick drop-off tracking with great controllers, I'd say pick it up. Otherwise, there's lots of other things on the market. And the other big wow factor for me was Hypervision's 240-degree display solution. With a 240-degree field of view, basically everything around my human eyes was screen. And how they achieved this is they had 4 screens. I believe they were micro LED with 4 lens systems. So there was a screen here, a screen in front of my eye, a screen in front of my eye, and a screen here, kind of curved together with 4 lenses, 2 here, 2 here. And the way that they put this together was so small compared to other devices. I've tried the Star VR. I actually have a Pimax 8KX under me right now. It was almost mind-blowing how small the system was and how well it worked. There were obvious seams between your primary vision and your peripheral vision, but I'm sure if I was using this on a regular basis, you're not going to feel that seam for very long. I used it only for the moment to pull it up to my eyes, and I was completely wowed by it. This is fantastic technology, and it's technology that will be soon start being integrated into devices by folks like VR Engineers and Lynx. They've had some financial and advisory partnerships with Somnium Space, Lynx, and Virgineers. So I feel like, maybe not 2023, but 2024 or 2025, Hypervision's lens technology is going to be the talk of the town. It might not be the 240-degree solution yet. It might be one of their other lens solutions that they also showcased at AWE and elsewhere this year. But very, very promising, very, very cool technology. And outside of AWE, 2 very big announcements have happened in the past week. The first was prior to Meta's gaming showcase. They announced the Meta Quest 3, which is coming later this year. It was kind of a non-secret. There have been a lot of product leaks and formal announcements related to a new Quest device coming for consumers in 2023. So it wasn't like a huge revelation that this product was coming, but things that it confirmed were the new Touch Plus controllers. It is going to have a depth sensor as well as full color cameras for pass-through. Previous solutions, including even the Quest Pro, used black and white cameras with a color camera to blend black and white and color, and it was kind of smeary. Now this is 2 full color cameras to do that stereo correct pass-through. I'm hoping that that gives a much higher fidelity and better quality to the pass-through technology in the Quest 3. And it's also using a new chipset from Qualcomm that is around 40% more powerful than the Quest 2 was. The controllers, the Touch Plus, have the true haptics of the Quest Pro, Touch Pro controllers. They do not have cameras on them to make them their own separate entities, though. They will still be using IR tracking, but they no longer have rings. It's all going to be built into kind of the base of the controller. How they're going to do this tracking is they're going to use AI to detect your hand position in your hands, because they do hand tracking as well alongside the controller's IR rings. So if something is covered, you'll have the ability to still have full tracking and not lose your tracking, which is very cool. I don't have a lot of other information about this device. It's kind of a save the date for September for the MetaQuest showcase Connect. And I do think Connect may be a 2-day in-person event this year, based on the fact that they announced it as a 2-day event and not just a web-based presentation. And the other big announcement this week was Apple's Vision Pro, a $3,499 device. In contrast, the Quest 3 was announced at starting at $499, and the $3499 Apple Vision Pro is coming in early 2024. I don't know how this is going to fit into the AR and VR ecosystem, but I'm excited to see a new contender in this area. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back with more content soon. Until next time, get out there and enjoy some VR, AR, or gaming for yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.